he starts in the book of the Galatians, after he's introduced himself and everybody else, he says, I marvel that you are turning away so soon from him who called you in the grace of Jesus Christ to a different gospel. A different gospel. How many gospels are there? Only one gospel. So, interesting. What is the gospel? What is it? Did you know the word gospel is used 104 times in the Bible? Well, there's a little number that shows up when I do a search. You know how many of them, you know how many times gospel is described or explained? 0. It is never defined for us what the gospel is in the New Testament. So, if it's used 100 times, in fact, it's used over 50 times in the Gospels. The word gospel is used more than 50 times in the Gospels. First 4 books of the New Testament. So, there's no definition of it there. So what can we presume by that? If they use a word over and over and over and over again, what can we presume about that? That they already knew what it was. Yeah. Well, yeah, if they used it over and over again, it's important. But we can also presume that they already knew what it was. In fact, in Hebrews 4:2, it says the same gospel was preached unto them in the Old Testament. The early prophets and the people, the early Jewish people, the same gospel was preached unto them as preached to us. All right, so the gospel goes way back. But where do you find the gospel in the Old Testament? Yeah, but it's something specific. This is really, really exciting for me. Something specific. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32 is a very, very special, very, very, very special chapter. God says to Moses, God calls Moses aside. Moses knows he's going to die at this point. And God calls him aside. And he says, Moses, these people of yours, they're going to screw up. They're going to screw up bad. And they're going to leave. And they're going to utterly forsake me. And they're going to be driven completely out of the land. And they're going to lose all knowledge of me. And then he says, so what I want you to do is I want you to teach them a song. And that song is chapter 32. It's called the Song of Moses. So what is the gospel? You get really 3 major elements in the gospel message, right? 3 major elements. Man is really, really messed up. Man cannot get to God on his own power. God is going to provide the atonement. That is the gospel message. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 15 through 18. Jeshurun. Jeshurun means the righteous ones. They grew fat and they kicked. They forsook God who made him and scornfully esteemed the rock of his salvation. We've sinned. We fall away from God. It's interesting, all exciting about this also, because included in this is the inclusion of the Gentiles. The Gentiles are included into the story. In verse 21, he says, they have provoked me to jealousy. They have moved me to anger with foolish gods, but I will provoke them to jealousy by those who are not a nation. I will move them to anger by a foolish nation. So that's where it talks about the Gentiles coming in and being accepted in. And then, verses 28 through 33 is how we have to come to recognize our helplessness, the fact that we need God, that we've drawn away. And then the last part of the song, in verse 43, talks about in both Gentiles and Jewish people, how God provides the atonement for us. We're all done. Any questions?
I have a statement.
What?
I want to soak it in. I don't want it to be
You can watch the tape.
rushed through.
No, but yeah, there's no way I could possibly get through the volume of this. What this is, call this commercial to sit down and read through Deuteronomy chapter 32. Okay?